What is going on, everybody? Moving right along here. We are kind of in like limbo with everything. I have parts coming back from finishing, parts coming back from coating, parts coming back from my buddy Jason at FCS, who made my end tanks and my can. George is machining a couple small things for me, so I got stuff everywhere, and it's kind of like I can't do this because I don't have that, and I can't do this because I don't have that, and then blah 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 blah, and it just goes on and on. But what we're going to do today is go over the main reason why I tore this whole car down. And if you can tell, it's because I am completely converting the car 100% to Holley EFI. It's something I wish I did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. When I first bought the MS3, didn't really know anything, didn't know better, didn't really have any guidance, didn't do any research, was the biggest thing. But the MS3 works. It's a setup that'll get you in a car, get you going. I mean, people have gone sevens. I mean, very few people have gone sevens on a gold box. But they've done it. But it's not what I wanted. It doesn't do what I want it to do. It's not big enough for what I want. So that's why we're here. I didn't lose out too bad on the gold box race pack situation. So I'm not overly upset, but now it's double the amount of work. I wired the whole car before, and now I gotta wire it all again. I'm kind of upset about it, but I'm kind of okay, because now it's going to be 10 times nicer than what it was. It's going to be 10 times more user-friendly. It's going to be 10 times more accessible. If you remember before, I had everything stuck up under the dash. Well, with heater boxes and all the street car stuff, nightmare. So what we're going to do now is, everything's going to be mounted behind the passenger seat. And you're like, whoa. But here's my thought. If I put everything on a panel, nice behind the passenger seat, all my relays, all my fuses, my ECU, my switch panel, the whole nine, if, God forbid, there's an issue, womp, 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 4 bolts, passenger seat's out of the car, and it's wide open to work on. We're going to keep things simple this time. I'm going to let the Holley control 95% of the car. So I went with a Dominator, because it can do it. It can control all your fans. It can control all your fuel pumps. It can control all your accessories. It can control everything. I literally have almost no need for a switch panel, and I wanted to jump down to like a 4 switch arc, but saving money right now, I'm just going to put the 8 in there and deal with it. And I literally have like my horn on there, interior lighting on there, parachute is going to be on there. And not parachute release, parachute switch to turn on the solenoid for the air actuator. Just so I don't accidentally bump the button. I'm in the pit, I'm at home in the garage, anything. I just leave the solenoid off, turn it on when I get in the car and start it, and the parachute's activated there. We'll go over the whole air side of the release and launcher. I've already done the launcher, but now it's combined with the release, so we'll go over that at a later date. Now, I've spent the better part of the past 6 months buying everything from Holley. And I went pretty much top of the line with their stuff. I got a Dominator. I have the 6.86 Pro Dash, which is super nice, and that's in a Florida 5.0 bezel for the Foxbody. It's so nice. We're going to go over playing with that, too. I'm going to power that up and show you guys. That thing is super sweet. My buddy's got the 7-inch, and, I mean, this thing's leaps and bounds better. I was hemming and hawing because Holley dropped the price so much on the 7-inch I was going to get it, and I'm happy I didn't, and I'm happy I went with the 6.8. So we got a bunch of boxes here. This isn't even all of them. I still don't have coil harness, and I still don't have a fuel injector harness. Holley doesn't even make a fuel injector harness for the Bosch 210s. There's a company, Jolt something, Jolt Power, I can't remember the name. I have it saved, that makes a coil harness for the Bosch 210s. I could probably build it, but then I got to source connectors. I got to source the terminals. I have the wire, and I got to source. You know, it's just easier to buy it and put it in the car and be done with it. So anyway, what we got here is going on Like I said, it's a lot of boxes. It's a lot of money to switch over to a Dominator. A full Dominator kit. It is not cheap. I won't even lie to you about this. That's why it's taken me better part of 6 months to buy all this. So we'll go through all the boxes here of what we have and what we're doing. I'll show you the Dominator. I'll show you the relay panel I'm making. I'll power up the dash for you. We're going to go through all these. Okay, so let's go over what we have here in these boxes. This is one of the most annoying things I find about Holley. This is your wideband O2 sensor. I prefer NTK over Bosch's. Bosch's seem to have a higher failure rate. Not about it. Don't want to deal with it. For the price of these things, I only want to buy 1, 2, maybe as a backup, and that's it. Now, Holley is really proud of these sensors, and you can't use anyone else's sensor with a Holley. There's a resistor or something that they do to this sensor makes it only work. I'd show you the sensor, but I already have it installed in the downpipe over here, and it's just chilling. And then if you read, there's a huge tag on here that says, warning, do not plug in the sensor until you have configured the device for the sensor or you will damage it. And at $250, you might want to heed that warning, because you could set up either a Bosch or NTK sensor. So that is part 554-100 that I ran in this car. This is something that you need if you're going to run a trans brake. Again, don't use nothing else. Get it straight from Holley. This is their solid state relay. Now, what you can do to save about $40 or $50 is get the NOS branded one, which Holley owns NOS, is literally the same exact sensor as the Holley one. It's just $35, $40 cheaper. And what it does is it comes with the solid state relay, and here's the NOS part number for that. And it's literally the same thing as the Holley trans brake solid state or whatever the hell they call it online. And it comes with a pretty long harness. And I'm going to preface with all this. You want to know how to install all this stuff? I'm not going to go over how to install everything. I have 100 videos of it. And honestly, I'm learning as I go. If you want to learn how to install this stuff correctly the right way, I'm going to jump on over to Devin Vanderhoof. I can't pronounce his last name. Jump on over to his YouTube, subscribe. He goes over literally everything Holley related. He's a godsend when it comes to this stuff. And he literally just put out a video about wiring in your trans brake with a V5, and it was hysterical. What do we have here? This is the J1AB in and out, or J1A or B in and out harness. And this is for your ins and outs. And this is how it comes. It comes on this. It's just got, so let me back this up. This is your J1A and B input and output connector, HP Dominator 558-400. And what this harness does, it plugs into the factory engine harness, the engine harness you buy from Holley. If you buy a LS-based harness, 24X, 58X, there is a plug on there, Dominator or HP, that has 4 ins and outs. And this is what this is. This plugs right into there, and it's already pre-wired, and you obviously need to run this, sheath this, and terminate this. And for right now, I'm not going crazy with inputs and outputs, so this is going to monitor dome pressure, this is going to monitor pre-intercooler temps, this is going to monitor crankcase pressure, and this is going to monitor back pressure on the exhaust. And when I start going, as I go, I will add to the computer. So that one plugs into the harness, not into the ECU. This one right here is J3 connector. Okay? This one is just another input and output harness, and this one plugs into the computer. So you have your plug for the Holley and a whole harness. It's already all pinned out, and you could, you know, where's the other rest? There they are. The rest of them, and you can run these as you see fit. Alright, powers, grounds, and then you have all these separate harnesses. So one thing that I have to show you not in a box is the engine harness, and that's already in the car because I needed to see if it was long enough to reach behind the seat like I wanted, and it is. They give you a ton of extra slack to route this thing wherever you want, but we'll get to that. So that's that harness. This is the 6.86 Pro Dash, and that is right here. Ooh, fancy. It looks really small when you get it and you hold it, considering, whereas I have an iPhone XS Max, and I mean, it's not that much bigger than it. But once this is actually in the car, I had this up on the dash with the dash in, it's actually really nice, and it fits pretty well. Well, I was kind of nervous when I first got it, and I was like, man, this thing is tiny. But let's see what goes over with that. Comes with that kit. And what's nice about the 6.8 is it's touchscreen. It's like your cell phone touchscreen. So you get a quick start guide. You get a template for drilling if you want to make your own dash. It comes with a whole plug for the back. Get all this wiring. So there you have your, let me get to it, you have your CAN hookup, and you have your powers, your switched 12 volt and ground powers. And it comes with this nice long harness. Put this away. It also, I don't know how this crap, oh, comes with all the hardware you would need to mount it, which I did already. It comes with this little beam, this USB to whatever connector that thing is. I don't even know. It goes in the back of the dash, obviously. And it also comes with, not like the 7-inch where you got to buy this separately. So remember that if you're thinking about buying a 7-inch, you got to spend another $100 on the GPS antenna kit. This gives you your speed, your odometer, which is so nice. I cannot wait to have an odometer again. I had an app on my phone that did speed and odometer, and I'd have to turn it on every single time I got in the car and drove, which was about 4,960 miles last year. And you can program that into the dash, so it's already preset at that mileage. Comes with it. It comes with a little thing. I was reading in the directions. You plug that into loop for the CAN. It comes with your little USB stick thing and a cleaning pad. CAN adapter harness, and it comes with a extension harness as well. So it comes with a good amount of stuff. Oh, this right here is 100 feet shielded cable 3 conductor, 572-104. And I'll tell you right now, this is worth every single penny. I promise you. Just spool the wire. Let's see if I can. So you got your 3 conductors. You have your ground strap, and you obviously thing. And what's nice about this, they use, I think it's Tevzel wire in here, but I want to say this is under $100, or right around $100. It's 100 feet of it. And what this is to run to any 3-wire component. Pressure transducers, flex fuel sensor, map sensor. I mean, it can go to countless things. And what's nice is it's already in this nice shielded cable, and you just run this and tie it up. You don't have to worry about, I know a lot of you guys love to go to your local parts store to buy wire. I did it in the last setup, and I tore it all out and threw it all away. This is my wiring cart. I'll show you guys quickly. I bought this cart. All this literally holds is wiring stuff. That's it. Anything to wire a car is in here. That's all it is. Oh, I know it's more money, and when it comes down to wiring, it's not what people want to do. But I promise you, you will have a better result in the end, and you won't have any issues. And you can't use regular Napa wire on a Dominator. It physically does not fit into the plugs, because if you look at the wire sheath thickness, it's like 18 times thicker than a Tevzel wire sheath. Just do your research. You don't even have to take my word for it. Do your research. The wires, it's not terribly expensive if you're buying it to do your car. If you're buying 500,000 foot spools of it, yes, it's going to get expensive, and it's going to get expensive really fast. But if you're just doing it to buy your car, you're not even double. I don't even want to say double. You're not even half more, 50% more than what you would buy from Napa for all that crap at Napa. And this is a good start. This stuff is great, because any sensor you're going to run this to it and you're done. Fasten it up, you're all set. And you can't beat this for $100, I promise you. I'm probably going to resheath this because it's massive. This is, where is it? They put the stickers freaking everywhere. Oh, this is the main power harness. Your main, this is what turns on, not turns on, it's not switched. This is the main power for your ECU. And I'm going to just, it's like freaking 15-20 feet. Plugs right into the Dominator, has a fuse right there. This sheath is huge on it though. You can see right there how big it is. Since my ECU is going to be in the back seat, we are going to cut this way down, and I'm just going to wrap some Raychem around it and be done and make it much nicer than this. But here is a super important tip, and it's really easy to figure out and read. You don't even have to go into Devin's YouTube page where he beats this to death because people still don't listen. Professionals wiring cars still don't listen. This right here goes directly to the battery. Not your kill switch, not your relay panel, not a ground post. To the battery. Look, it even says it. Connect directly to battery terminals only. They even put 2 exclamation marks because they mean business. If you do not do this, you will have problems. People, well, I've had mine like that for 2 years and I don't have a single issue. Lies. So you can connect that right to your terminals on your battery cable, on the battery. It comes with 2 terminals, a little bit of heat shrink, and that's that. That's the main power one. And what do we got left? The piece de resistance. One of the best ECUs you can buy. I won't get into ECU battles with people because they'll be like, oh my god, Dominator sucks, Fuel Tech the world, or AEM the world, or big stuff, whatever. I don't care what you run. I'm running this. Do as you please. That's the end of that conversation. So I bought the Dominator big bad Billy badass computer here. It's got like a 500 million inputs and outputs. It can literally control anything you want it to control. There's a couple of things it doesn't do that some other computers do, but nothing that will be in the realm of anyone below like Pro Mod or X275 will need to use. ECU's not in here. What is in here is this USB cable that screws into the side of the Dominator. Look, another warning about the power and ground cable installation. If you do not put this to the battery, it's simply because you're a fucking idiot and didn't pay attention. I'm just going to put it at that. Simply pay attention. There's a reason why this thing is bright yellow. Looks like it's warning for cigarettes. Big cancer, skull and crossbones. Warning. Read the front and back or your warranty will be voided. Simple. Comes with a sweet little Dominator EFI sticker you can put on your computer. I'm probably not going to do it. It's kind of cheesy. Probably should have been on there from the factory, but hey, whatever. And it comes with the USB for all the software. There's the computer. See all them plugs? So your main power goes into here, engine harness is here, and then this is open for everything you want to do. Now, another piece of advice is going to be super hard for people to understand. I don't know if you can see it. Let me get a light. If you can see it right there, you will see rubber grommets holding the computer off the panel. This is actually their hardware too. Now my Dominator came pre-installed with them. Can't say they're on all of them. Probably in the box if it's not on the computer. But it needs to be rubber mounted. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Needs to be rubber mounted. The case is metal of this computer. It's freaking heavy for one. But the case is metal. You can run into electrical issues if you mount this without the rubber isolators. So do yourself a favor. Listen to Holley, you know, the people who designed and built this computer, on how to mount it and how to wire it. Or Devin. Alright? Those are the only two people you really need to listen to. I have, remember from the last wire, the leash, what is this, 6 fuse panel. That's going to go on there. A power stud. And I have a ground stud that's going to go on there. I got to dig out your solid state relay. And this right here I bought from Leash Electronics as well, but I think I'm going to upgrade to their, I think I'm going to buy the 4 one as well. And this is their dual 70 amp relay board. And what's nice is this, you have power come straight in. It could be either negative or 12 volt triggered, which is really sweet. I really wasn't sure on why you would choose 12 volt and negative versus, you know, versus each other, but apparently negative is less, from what I've read and heard. I talked to my buddy because I was like, what do you do on your car? He's like, everything's negative triggered on mine. Less strain on the computer. I don't know, but everybody seems to do ground triggered. So this does both. Let's see, ground triggered, and there's your outputs. And he makes single, dual, triple, quad. I don't think there's a 5. I think it goes 6, 8, 12. So I think I'm gonna buy the 4 because I'm trying to figure out everything I need. And I have 2 fans for the engine, 1 fan for the transmission, 1 fuel pump at this time, but I know there's gonna be a secondary fuel pump, so that's up to 5. So I think I'm gonna use this for fuel pumps. I'm gonna buy the 4 for the fans and a spare. I'm not 100% sure what the 5th thing is, but I'll have a spare, and you know, if something happens I can add on to this later. But this will be mounted on there as well. So I still have to mount all these, but I gotta wait until I get the 4 panel one, because I think this 6, I think I was gonna get the 6 and ditch this, but I think the 6 only has 30 amp relays, and then you gotta go to an 8, but the 8's like $250. So I think I was just gonna get the 4 and sit it next to this, and this way it'd be fuel pumps separated. But I don't know, I think the 6 only had 30 amp relays, and these are 70. One last thing to show you guys is the engine harness. So you could see it all laid out right here. It does not come apart like that. I took it apart because I'm going to shorten some of these up, because like this is going to be here and I just don't want all the extra wire. I ordered a bag of terminals to shorten all these bad boys up, but it all comes labeled TPS, coolant temp sensor, idle control, what do we got here, manifold air temp. It's nice that they even give you a fuel pressure one, map sensor, and you can see down there coil plugs. It's hard to see. Let me see if I go to the other side and see it, but you can see more of the harness right there. It's plugged into the cam. there is these grounds on here. See this right here? And if I can pull this back some, it says connect to cylinder head only. Alright? Both sides. There's one for this head and there's one for that head. I think those are coil and fuel injector grounds. Gotta make sure to plug those in. Each cylinder head. Cylinder head. And here's the rest of this. So I drilled a big hole right there in my trans tunnel. See? Heater boxes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these sealants. Stick those on there so the harness comes through. This is the other side of that plug I told you about, the inputs and outputs. Inputs, outputs, plugs right in. You see how long this harness is. Goes all the way into the back seat pretty much. So that's where that panel's going. And you see the harness plugs in. Now the only thing that sucks is these relays and this fuse. I've thought about opening up this harness and running them back so they could be over here, just to get them from not being here. Simply just so I could, I could bring them down. I could each mount them right here and be done. There's the can for the dashboard powers. I don't remember what the wires go to. There's even a bunch more here. I cannot remember. I have to go into the instructions and look. And there is your wideband connector. Now this, you can see it there, but it obviously isn't going to reach to here. This is going to run up and go in that hole. Obviously not going to be long enough. They sell a 4-foot extension harness, which I'm going to get. Now, when you're running yours trying to figure out where to go, it may not look like it, but you can cut that harness and shorten it and do what you got to do to get it to fit right. It's a shielded cable. You can cut it and change all that if you want. Well, that's pretty much, minus the coil harness and the injector harness, it's pretty much all the Holley stuff. Personally, I think it's one of the best systems in the market, on the market. There's other great systems out there. People love Fuel Tech, people love Motec. Motec is big money. All of this probably still couldn't even buy me a new M88 or M800 or whatever ECU they're on now, M150. I don't even know the numbers anymore. Okay, I have my Pro Dash already all mounted in this Florida. This is a cluster from Florida 5.0. In my opinion, they make the best cluster housings for a good portion of your Dash's displays. Not necessarily a huge fan of how it mounts, but it worked. It's literally just held on with some angle and the screws, and there's actually it's really hard to see, but there's rubber bushing under the screws, so it's not as much shock. It holds it in, it's strong, but I just think it's a really chintzy way, like amateur way to install this. I think they could have done a better job. This is something, if I homemade one, this is how I would have mounted it. I think they could have came out with a piece of plastic that covers the edges and you bolt through instead of this. I think this is really amateur. But it fits great. The finish is nice. It looks almost like factory plastic. It's pretty thick. It's durable. So anyway, we'll go on. Oh, on the back of it, you have your main plug, your plug for your GPS right there, and you have two. I don't know what these are called. They're not USBs. Oh, they might be USBs, but I don't know, A, B, C, or D or whatever. But I don't know. So we'll plug in the main power harness so I can get this display lit up for you guys and show you some of the features with it. It's powering up, as you can see. Flashes, waiting for data. I mean, it's not as easy to see on the video here. That's better. But this is crystal clear. This is gorgeous. It's crystal clear. I still have the plastic cover screen protector on here, so the touch is a little off. But I've just been playing with this a little bit. Not crazy. I'm actually going to put my own background on it, which you can do. But if you could see right here, I don't know if it'll come up on this. So, 4,860. That's awesome. Like I said before, you can put your odometer in. It's sweet. So this is one of the screens that comes up. You know, you can put your blinkers up here, right turn, left turn. You got integrated shift lights up here. You can't really see it, it's in the glass. But there's integrated shift lights, warning lights. And this is just a bunch of gauges, but I'm just going to go through all the... This one's actually really nice. I like this one. This is like a good track setting one. You're not looking at this thing going down the track, so you really don't need much. I mean, this has fuel pressure, oil pressure, and RPM and speed, which is all done by GPS. So you gotta put that GPS, and it's got coolant temp there. But, so these are just the pre-programmed displays that it comes with. Like I said, it's the plastic film on here is making it a little more difficult. I gotta put a little more pressure in. Well, oh, that one's pretty. So this one has the virtual switches. If you can see them, oh, I'm sorry, there's glare. There, you can see the virtual switches here. I don't know if it'll turn anything on with nothing hooked up to it. I don't think so. But, you know, turn your water pump on, and you could do this while in the car sitting there getting ready to go. You can turn these on. But that's pretty much, I don't think they'll work with it being disabled. Go back to the game. So when you tap on the screen, you get a whole menu that pops up over here. And what's cool about the Pro Dash is you can data log and play it back right from the dash. So when you tap on it, you got a record button. It's recording right now, obviously. And you know, you're done, you can hit stop, and then you got your playback, and you can select the log files and everything here, you know. So that's a pretty cool feature. I do like that a lot. Yeah, you could also, you don't have to swipe. They actually have a next and a previous button in the menu. If you go into the menu, this is where you do all your other stuff. Sorry guys, I know this, you probably can't see this all this well, but I'll make sure to tell you what it is. So you have a configuration button, a customize button, a data log button, a utilities button, and a dashboard. So we'll start from, you know, the first one and go in. So tap your configuration, and what's cool about this is, starts up here, asks you how many number of layouts you want. It's at 9. Initial layout, which is the gauges that you saw pop up, was the original. You can, god damn it, I'm about to rip this plastic off, but I don't want to do it till there you, I don't know. Yeah, so there's your dimming. I have it set on auto just because night time and everything. Operating mode, you got your standalone, because you can use this dash without a Holley. You don't need a Holley. This has inputs and 13 inputs and outputs. So, come on. You have standalone, HP, Dominator, Sniper, Terminator X, Terminator X Max. Yes, you can use this on a Terminator system. You can. It works. I know someone. I set someone up with it already. Actually, my Mako dealer. I got him into a Terminator X and a 6.8 Pro Dash. So you got your clock, your date, your time zone, calibrate your accelerometer, update firmware, dash configurations. And there you go. You can change so many things. Local in and out, CAN devices, plugins, your vehicle, engine RPM, speed and odometer source, local dash speed calculation, so you put your tire size in here and your gear ratio and stuff. And this, I thought the the shift light one was really cool. So what's cool, so my biggest problem was with the race pack was I couldn't see the progressive shift lights at the top. I never saw them, so I was always missing shifts on the car. What's cool about this one is, so it's got your green, yellow, and red, because it's progressive. But what you can do is you can put however many greens you want, however many yellows you want, and however many reds you want. So if I were to take, you can see I'm taking greens out, you're getting more reds. Oh, I'm adding yellows. My fingers are too big. So you see how it all changed? But what I like is, if I could add this up, which I could have probably done on the race pack, but the problem was the cable, the serial cable just decided to crap out, and I couldn't communicate with it again in the end. It's also making it really hard to do from the side. So anyway, I think it's 6 might be the maximum. No, it's not. 7 is the maximum. There you go. So I have almost all greens, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red. But what you can do is you could set all of them to the same RPM. So you got your minimum, your warning, your alarm, and your max. I set it all at 7200. So when I hit 7200, this thing's going to light up. The whole thing's going to light up and freak out. Flash rate quick, brightness auto, orientation normal. And just hit OK. Set time by HDS. I don't know what any of that stuff really is, but customize. This is, I'm sorry, I'm having a term. Obviously, if you can't read it, it says gauge customize mode enabled. So you got to go into this to customize your gauges. So what you do is you click on it. You can, it's labeled engine RPM. You can move it, you can customize it, you can delete it, or you cancel. So if you go into customize, this gives you any sort of option that you want to customize the gauge. If you go into here, you can change the gauge. So you could set it to literally whatever you want. Duty cycle, AFR left, AFR right, air temp, engine, coolant enrichment. I mean, literally, you can set it to anything. So I'm not going to change it because I want it. I'm going to probably go through this, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it RPM, and then you could scale it and everything. Boom. And then give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this. Oh, cancel. Then you just tap on the background. So if you tap on the background and not a gauge, you get another menu. Add, layout, save, background, discard changes. So you could add a gauge, a label, or a switch. So you could add a switch. No switched outputs are enabled. Please go to menu, configuration, dash configuration, and enable a switched output channel. So it was right before you can't turn nothing on because it's not enabled. So you could add a switch here, which I probably won't have anything. So there's a switch right here. Delete it. Do you really want to delete the switch? Yes. Alright. So, and then you tap on the background again, and you get save, saving, all done. And now you're out of that. So data log, ECU is not found, so obviously you can't look at that. Utilities. Your global configurations in here. Backup, restore, service menu, security settings. So you can do everything from this dash, tuning and everything. So you can lock out a bunch of stuff. Firmware update, file, ECU log, standalone. Whatever you want to lock out, you can put in a password for it. That's a little quick run through of the 6.8-inch Pro Dash from Holley. Like I said, I was nervous when I got this thing because of the size of it. I mean, you can see the phone isn't much smaller than it. But once I got it into this cluster and I had it on the dashboard, I was pleasantly surprised with it and I was very happy with it. I kind of wish they went because they have this, they have like the 3.5-inch little baby one that comes with the Terminator X's and stuff. They have a 5-inch, I think it's a 5-inch. They have a 7-inch. They have the 6.8, and they have the 12.8. I wish they did like a 10-inch, because the 12.8's huge. It literally fills this whole thing. And while some cars, it's probably excellent in a Foxbody, it looks horrible in my opinion. It fills this whole thing up and it's slanted back, and I don't like it. This can be nice and straight. And honestly, I don't need a TV in here. It's gauges. I don't need it to be the size of a wall clock. I'm very happy with this. My buddy's got the 7-inch. There's definitely a huge improvement over the 7-inch to this. This thing is sweet. I can't wait to actually take this off, because then it should be just like your cell phone, because it's glass screen. I can't really show you, you know, the stuff moving, but once I get this thing in the car and get the whole car wired with the Dominator and everything, it's obviously going to change a lot. I'm going to put my own background on there, my own gauges, because I don't, most of this would be like a street cluster for me. You know, it has boost, it has fuel pressure, speed, which I'm so happy to have a speedometer. I got to figure out where to put this thing now. Where to put this little, you know, it's like an XM antenna, little baby antenna. I got to figure out where to put it. I think I'm going to run it out and run it so it's on the middle of the deck lid in the back by the window. I don't know, we'll see. My buddy kept his in the car and it works apparently. So I might just put it up on the dash by the windshield. Play with that when I get to it. It has water, water temp, oil pressure. So I mean, it's a pretty good cruising street dash. And I said you can hook up blinkers to this. I'm not going to. I already have blinkers pre-wired into the harness, so I'm just going to drill. Wait. I'm just going to drill the 2 little holes and put the LEDs back in that I had before. You know, since you could have 9+ dashes, what I'll do is I'll just have the street dash, and you know, I'll slide over and set up a dash for the track. And you know, I'll have one like this where it shows me every single sensor in the car, you know, every pressure transducer, what it's doing, and then, you know, I'll just go to a very simplistic, you know, track dash, giant tack, and you know, a couple of very key pressures and shift lights. But you know, with all the fail safes in Holley, you don't even really need to see those, because if any of those drop out, the Holley's going to catch it faster than you ever will. Well, that's that, guys. That is the introduction to my full Holley changeover. Like I said in the beginning, I'm missing a couple of small things, but nothing that can't get me going and get this thing in the car and start wiring it up. Told you before, jump on Devin's YouTube channel. He's a Holley expert, and he gives you a lot of good pieces of information for wiring. A lot. So that's a great resource there. I've watched a ton of his videos. So I'm going to start wiring the car. I don't know how, some people have told me to go in depth about it, but you know, I've wired a couple of cars and I'm learning as I'm going, so I'll probably record most of it, but not all of it. I think we'll end this here. I'll just use this as an introduction into the Holley. We're going to be bouncing around. The next video might be wiring. It might be, you know, fabricating the intercooler, getting the radio. I don't know. We're playing it as I go. So stay tuned, guys. I hope everybody's keeping busy during this quarantine. Stay at home. I've been furloughed from work now, so I'm off for the next month. I'm going to try to get as much done as I can, but I can't spend money because me and the wife are at home now, and that means no paychecks coming in. I hope everybody's surviving out there. I feel bad for all the small business guys. But get in the garage, guys. Try to keep your mind off of it. Work on your hot rod. Do whatever it is. Even if you go down there and just have a beer with your hot rod. Have a good night, guys.